With the stock market at record highs, are you prepared for the next downturn? Corrections can be unforgiving. Smart investors know diversification is the key to financial security. Noble Gold Investments make it easy to diversify with gold. With over $2 billion in sales, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans add gold to their portfolios. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins as a thank you. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Don't let the next correction catch you off guard. NobleGoldInvestments.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. Andrew Colvett in for Charlie Kirk. And breaking news, I'm allowed to disclose, Charlie's actually traveling with the vice president today. He's with J.D. Vance, who is an American hero. Already can't wait to see all the things that J.D. accomplishes in his time serving this great country. Right now, I am joined by Brian Glenn, White House correspondent for Real America's Voice. Brian, we have our first White House press briefing today with the new White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. Fill us in. What's the mood like there? What are the changes we can expect to see? I know the entire country, especially the political class, is going to be tuned in to this event today.
For sure. You know, I just stepped outside to do this hit with you, but I can tell you one thing: the crowd is growing inside that press room, as it has been all morning. It seems like there is an elevated buzz around this press conference. Obviously, this is the first time we've had a press conference. We've seen Karoline Leavitt in this capacity in this official briefing room, and you know what? There's new media outlets out here that I've never seen before around the White House. So there is certainly a buzz in the air, Andrew, and I can expect this thing also to be filled with a ton of questions. As you would imagine, a lot of the media here, they want to kind of be able to scrutinize a lot what President Trump has done this first, 2 weeks of his administration. But I will say this, though, a little bit an addition that I've not seen in there before. They do have these 2 video screens on either side of where Leavitt will be standing. Perhaps they'll use that as kind of a slideshow, or maybe something to be able to play some video to back up some of the statements and kind of recap what has happened the last day 10 or whatever day we're on at this point. It's been going so fast, as we know, but that's kind of some additional changes that I've noticed inside. But as soon as we're done here, we're going to move inside and be ready in position for this press conference scheduled to start at 1 o'clock.
So, Brian, a lot has been made about the seating arrangement that we can expect, right? I mean, in years past, we've seen New York Times, what we like to call the regime media, the legacy media outlets, seated right up front. There's been a lot of news made about who Karine Jean-Pierre would call on, who she would not. Do you have any insight yet about how the seating arrangement is going to be? Our outlets like Real America's Voice, Turning Point USA, we have our own White House correspondent as well in there. Do you have any insight on that yet?
I don't. I will say this. I think it is business as usual as far as seating goes for this particular press conference. Now, as we move forward, I don't know what that would look like. I could imagine after this first initial conference that the seating charts, the seating arrangement, the assignments will be scrambled up a little different, putting a little bit more of maybe your conservative-based media towards the front, or maybe I should say the ones that are fair and unbalanced, right, up in front. But to your point, I have not heard any changes for this one, but I can expect that is going to be revised moving forward, because this is very much a different administration, as we know. I mean, it seems like forever that the previous press secretary really protected Joe Biden from any type of official scrutiny of anything that he did. And of course, they will use this pulpit today, if you will, to absolutely unleash on President Trump a lot of things like immigration, Andrew. It's been highly criticized across most of the mainstream media. So I would expect a fair amount of questions on that subject today. But I do expect some other documentation. I mean, using these video screens, Andrew, is a great idea, because instead of turning to the to the book, the binder, I guess, that would have all these answers. Why not just show a video? Why not show just a PowerPoint presentation, if you will, about what this last few days have been in terms of the accomplishments, the executive orders, some of the changes that have happened within our government, within our military, these Senate confirmation hearings, all the stuff can be displayed on these monitors, and I think it gives a great visual to this whole press conference.
I agree. I think we need to be more creative in government. I think this administration is proving how creative you can be and not being mired by the way things have been. So last question here, Brian. I know you got to get back there and prep for this this briefing. 30 seconds. Give me a sense of how the resistance media, as I like to call them, the tone, the vibe shift, all these things we're hearing. What are they feeling like these days?
Well, I think they sense there is some additional faces in this room that they have not seen before. I can probably give you a better answer after this press conference of how perhaps we were, maybe treated a little differently. I have been warned that you've got some people that are going to try to make it tough, but I have not experienced that as of yet, Andrew. But I will let you know.
Awesome. Well, you keep an eye out for us, Brian, and ask some great questions. We know you will. Thank you, Brian Glenn. Let's go ahead and play cut 96.
This White House believes strongly in the First Amendment, so it's why our team will work diligently to restore the press passes of the 440 journalists whose passes were wrongly revoked by the previous administration. We're also opening up this briefing room to new media voices who produce news-related content and whose outlet is not already represented by one of the seats in this room. We welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House.
All right, so I'm going to respond to this, but, I think this is massive, massive news. And as somebody that part of my job is working with mainstream news media, legacy news media. For those who don't know, I serve as the spokesman for Turning Point when Charlie's not available or chooses not to participate. So I have to interact with these people a lot, and I will just tell you that there is a huge amount of them that are wildly unimpressive and that have their job simply because they've climbed through a pecking order and towed the party line. There's editorial constraints involved. For example, you have to call January 6th an insurrection at some of these outlets. You have to say that the 2020 election was the most secure election in the history of elections. These are things that they are forced to say in print or on air at many of the legacy news media outlets. That is wildly out of step with the people that just elected Donald Trump as their 47th president. So there is a fundamental disconnect between the people and the news agencies and the news outlets that are allowed into that room, or at least historically. Caroline Leavitt is blowing up an old paradigm. It needed to be blown up. It needed to be reset. It needed to be reformulated. I, for one, am all for it. I think Joe Rogan should be in that room. I think Russell Brand should be in that room. I think Charlie Kirk should be in that room. And if Charlie doesn't want to do it, me or Blake will do it for him. But I'm so thrilled that we already have a Turning Point USA White House correspondent. She's a true journalist, a real cut in the mold that of truth and honesty, integrity. Yes, she has a POV, but don't for a second think that these other journalists don't have a POV, because they are absolutely water holders of the regime media. They have been an enemy of the people because they have been an enemy of truth. Now, I'm not saying they need to be arrested. Some of you in the audience will disagree with me on that. I'm simply saying that it is time for the scales of coverage and justice and truth to be rebalanced, and this is a fundamental step in the right direction.